Do you have to do an interview as part of the condo board approval process in New York City? We'll demystify this topic in the following video. I'm Nick at Houseit. Visit houseit.com to learn how to save money if you're buying, selling, or renting here in New York City. So let's get started. So you're buying a condo, and you may have heard that in the case of a co-op, there's a pretty extensive application as well as an interview. Now, many buyers wonder if this similar process extends to condos. Now, the good news is that in most cases, you will not have to sit for an interview if you're buying a condo. That's not to say it's guaranteed that you won't have to do one, but in our experience, probably 95% or more of condos do not require the applicant to sit for an interview. And the reason is that there's pretty much no point. Unlike a co-op, a condo cannot just reject a prospective purchaser without any recourse or obligation to do something in exchange. A condo, on the other hand, can only reject a buyer if the condo actually decides to use the condo's money to actually buy the apartment at the same price you were willing to pay for it. That scenario virtually is non-existent in New York City because it just doesn't make sense for a condo building to engage in the business of buying and selling apartments. This is called the right of first refusal. And circling back to what we mentioned, then there's really no reason to do an interview. What's the point of doing an interview if you pretty much cannot reject the buyer based on what you discover in the interview? Now, that being said, if a condo does want to do an interview, it might just be really for the purposes of doing, like an orientation about the building. So your quote unquote interview for a condo building in New York City might be you sitting like with the board president or someone else on the board, and then basically walking you through like the house rules and other sorts of policies and procedures that the building requires all of the owners to adhere to. Now, the application process itself for the condo, excluding the interview, is honestly very similar to what you do with a co-op. In both cases, you will basically be expected to submit some pretty extensive documentation, and honestly, I would say most of the time, condos and co-ops will ask for virtually all of the same things. Co-op might ask for a few other items specific to co-ops, mechanically speaking, such as the Aztec recognition agreements if you are financing, but that's a little bit too much detail and outside the scope of this video. So just to summarize, if you are buying a condo in New York City, there's a 95% chance you will not have to do a board interview. However, the condo does have the right to try to do one, and if you have to do one, it most likely is just going to be pretty much like an orientation about the building and the various rules that the building has. So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave us a comment below, and please remember to visit houseit.com. If you are looking to buy, sell, or rent in New York City, we can save you money, so you can learn how on our website, houseit.com. And feel free to send an email to team@houseit.com with any further questions. I'm Nick at Houseit, and we'll see you on the next video.